This morning we want to look at Hebrews chapter 6. I'm going to read verses 17 through 20. So here we go. Let's dive in. Thus God, determining to show more abundantly to the heirs of promise the immutability of his counsel, confirmed it by an oath, that by two immutable things, in which it is impossible for God to lie, we might have strong consolation who have fled for refuge to lay a hold of the hope set before us. This hope we have as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, and which enters the presence behind the veil, where the forerunner has entered for us, even Jesus, having become high priest forever, according to the order of Melchizedek. Anchors Aweigh is not just the fight song for the Naval Academy, but right here we see this picture of the anchor and an anchor of the soul. I brought you my anchor here. This is for my 17-foot canoe. I got my moorings here with my rope and my carabiner and my little float buoy here in case I drop it into the water. I can grab it. And then we got the anchor. And the idea is that this ties into the bottom of the riverbed so that I have something to hold me fast. And this season in particular, I've never had an anchor for the boat before, but this season in particular, I went out and got an anchor because the river has been so high and it's going so fast and really quite dangerous, because when that river raises up and you got the trees on the side with all of those limbs, if you get caught up in those limbs, you fall off the boat and you drift into those. They strain you and you're basically toast at that point. The power of the water will drive you down. And so there's some danger involved in even a small river like the Yamhill, or a little bigger river like the Willamette. And so this need for an anchor became very apparent to me because of the speed at which the current was taking the boat. Normally, when the river is traveling much slower, you can kind of power around with a trolling motor, and it's really no problem. The danger is pretty low, and so if you find yourself kind of tangled up, if you're focusing on, like me, I'm focusing on fishing. I'm getting Asher's pole all ready to go and putting a new lure on, or taking a fish off the line. And then I my eyes go up and I'm like, oh man, we're heading right into the brush, or we got to turn the boat around. We're heading right towards a big log. And so in a short amount of time, you can drift. And the longer your eyes are off your surroundings, the more danger you can find yourself in. And the further you can drift from where you are thinking you are. And so as that speeds up, as that river is moving more water and at a quicker pace, it doesn't take very long for you to find yourself in a sticky situation. And thus the need to anchor down. Anchors aweigh, but we got to tie in to something greater than us. And in this case, that would be the bottom of the riverbed, immovable. And that's the idea behind the word immutable. It's the only place in the scriptures that this word is found, and it's back to back here in verse 17 and 18. The immutability of God's counsel. God is unable to lie. And so when he says something, it's like the bottom of a riverbed. It is immovable. And that's kind of the idea behind this anchoring to something immutable. And this is so key these days as we see our culture just increasing. It's like we're having a heavy rain season with our cultural morality, and this Judeo-Christian departure, and we see the culture at large just speeding up. The speed at which the culture is driving us away from where we are comfortable being morally is fast indeed, and we can drift. We can drift. You take your eyes, you stop paying attention, you stop watching, and pretty soon you've drifted, and you've drifted way too far. And so, how do we anchor to the immutable riverbed? How do we get down to something solid? Well, really, the only thing we have is the Word of God. Okay, we don't have, apart from this, we don't have access to the bottom of the river. We are just at the mercy of the river itself. And so I like to compare the moorings here, the rope and the carabiner, to the Word of God, because this book is not the anchor itself. It's not the anchor itself. I suppose would just be the riverbed, God Himself, the person of Jesus Christ, the person of Jesus Christ. But where is Jesus? Where we by faith we have to access Him, and it's through this book with these ropes that we tie in to the person of Jesus Christ. He is the anchor of our soul, and everybody's looking for something to ground them, something solid. There's just sort of like this feeling like, man, there's it's hopeless. There's nothing out there. What is life about? And I asked a couple friends yesterday, imagine what would you, if you took Christ out of your life? Let's say you were done with Christianity, God forbid, and you said, all right, what am I going to anchor to? What am I going to tie on to? What am I going to grab a hold of? Try to imagine what would it be? What would you run to for security? What would you run to for consolation and peace, and maybe even a distraction from the thought and the idea of death being up ahead? Would it be fitness? Would it be causes? Would it be religious activity? Would it be adrenaline, drugs and alcohol? Without Christ, what would it be? What would you run to? What would you try to grab a hold of? Or would you just let the tide take you? Would you let the powerful current just take you downstream, and you would just go with whatever? But we don't have to do that. We have an option. And not even just an option, but we have a solution. And that solution is to tie our soul, to anchor up to the person of Jesus Christ. By faith in His Word, we have something to tie on to. And I'll tell you, I haven't been able to use my anchor yet, but I'm looking forward to it, because now I have the ability to drop that anchor, and I can fish an area, and I can just be at peace. That current can just be going right underneath me, anchored up. I can fish a fishing hole and just be present. Excuse me. I can focus on fishing with my son, angling for those bass. I can just enjoy the birds and the crisp air, and I don't have to be constantly trying to power around with my solutions to things. I don't have to constantly be trying to motor upstream and get into the right place and stay in the right place and troll and try to counter the culture's pressures and all of those things. I can just rest. Let the anchor do its work, grounded in the bottom of the riverbed, and just let the Just let all of this stuff go beneath me and ride that anchor. And that peace is available to us. We got to tie into and stay close to and be hooked up to Jesus Christ. Look unto him, anchor up, or rather anchors away, as the Navy Academy sings in their fight song. And may we be tied to him all of our days. And may the culture not be something that gets us to spin our wheels and something that wears down our trolling battery, or that makes us run out of gasoline for our two-stroke engine, or whatever whatever the analogy would be, whatever boat you're looking at, the wind in your sails. May we not be having to work to hold our moral bearings and our spiritual posture, but may we be just anchored up to Jesus Christ, the person, through his revelation, the Word of God, tied up to him, that we might be a testimony of peace, a testimony of grace, and a testimony that there is another way to anchor up to Jesus Christ. So God bless you, and may you be at peace in these difficult days. And until next time on Morning Manna.